Let me ask you about what's going on in Arizona. It's so fascinating this year. We've had a couple of narratives. The first narrative was the Democrats were going to get wiped out. That was the first part of the year because of Joe Biden's really low, historically low approval ratings. Those approval ratings have come up. You had the Dobbs decision. There seemed to be a second narrative, which was the Democrats are going to do much better. I think some people overshooting the mark, saying how great the Democrats are going to do. We don't know that yet. But now we seem to be moving to a new phase, and there's nothing more sobering than seeing Herschel Walker with all of his problems, even in Georgia, and seeing perhaps the most radical, anti-democratic major party candidates that we have out in Arizona, election deniers, democracy deniers, who are actually doing extraordinarily well in the governor's race and even that Senate race, which is tightening up, as I actually always suspected it would if you look at 2020. What are you seeing out there?
It continues to be ground zero for the debate over election denial. And I'm not sure if people have really been paying attention to the statewide races in Arizona outside of the Senate race, but Arizona is on the verge of electing a Trump-endorsed election denier, Kari Lake, as governor, and also on the verge of electing a Trump-endorsed election denier in the very critical race of Secretary of State in the former Mark Finchem. And both of these races are dead heats. Right now, Katie Hobbs, the Democrat running for governor, is up 4 points. The Mark Finchem, the Trump-endorsed election denier, who was a Jan 6er, he was at the Capitol on January 6th. He is 4 points up in the race to be Secretary of State in the state of Arizona. Kari Lake, the Republican nominee here for governor, I've trailed her for a couple of days. She is an extraordinarily effective communicator. And, perhaps even more effective than Trump. And unlike Trump, she doesn't hit you over the head with conspiracy theories about the election. She just sort of weaves everything through very subtly, very skillfully, with a light touch. But it just permeates all of what she says. And she has a big, energetic following.
Yeah, she is an election denier. I have a friend who was running against her in the primary. She, infused her campaign with QAnon-type conspiracies, talking about pedophiles all the time, wanted to have cameras in every classroom in the state of Arizona because of this so-called, pedophilia epidemic. My friend Matt Salmon said, well, I don't know if we need cameras in every classroom in the state of Arizona. And she immediately accused Matt Salmon, a guy that's long been respected on both sides of the aisle, of being a champion of pedophiles. I mean, that's what we're talking about here. Just the most extreme of extreme candidates.
And she does not back down. Blake Masters, who's the Republican Senate candidate, he also was election denier. He said that there was a conspiracy. All the powers conspired against Donald Trump, that Donald Trump should be president today. He did an interview with Von Hilliard at MSNBC prior to the Republican Party, where he sort of reaffirmed that if he was in the Senate, he would have voted to not certify Arizona's votes in the 2020 election. Last night on the debate stage, he was trying to moderate. When he was on the debate stage with Senator Mark Kelly, he's trying to moderate. He's trying to backpedal a little bit. Kari Lake, she does not back down. She does not backpedal. Yeah. She just keeps piling on. But she is a very telegenic former television anchor. Sarah Palin had her hockey moms, and Kari Lake has her mama bears. And I went to an event with Women for Kari Lake. She is very relatable. Very formidable candidate. And, I think we need the very real possibility that she will win here. And, I saw her on stage with Kristi Noem, the sitting governor of South Dakota. And, you kind of wonder, am I looking at the 2024 ticket? She is a real force.
Well, I actually had somebody else tell me after they saw those two together, said, I think you're looking at the 2024 ticket. Here's a short clip from this Sunday's The Circus that features Kari Lake.
You said in the primary that we outvoted the fraud. Your voters did. Are you worried that in the general election you won't be able to accomplish the same thing?
I'm always worried about voter fraud because we have a system right now, an election system that people don't have faith in. I want to see cleaning up our voter rolls. I want to make sure that we don't have a glut of mail-in ballots. We're going to a home where there's one voter and 5 ballots show up. I want to make sure that we count the vote fairly, and I think there's major problems with the electronic voting machine, so we're going to look at those.
Yeah, you know, it's fascinating, Mike Barnicle. There are certain TV news networks that are facing possible billion-dollar settlements or maybe verdicts because of the lies about those voting machines. We've also heard all the lies about the mail-in ballots. But again, you have more of the same where you've got certain Trump Republicans spreading conspiracy theories and continuing to spread conspiracy theories. And then when their followers start repeating the conspiracy theories, they go, well, you know, we're just talking about this because a lot of people are concerned. Yeah, they're concerned because you're spreading conspiracy theories about voting.
Mm-hmm. You know, watching Kari Lake, and I've seen her not only in this clip, but in several other clips over the past few days, she is incredibly consistent and on point in what she talks about. Whether she believes it actually or not, we'll never know. But the larger point is the failure of people in the United States Senate and Washington, D.C. to deal with this issue. And by that, I mean we've just seen the horrific events in Southwest Florida. What happened after the hurricane struck that coast? People went to work immediately because it was an emergency. It was a disaster. So you have the Electoral College Reform Act, and they've been talking about it in the Senate and talking about it in the Senate, and everybody agrees it's necessary. Even Mitch McConnell, we have to get this bill done. And where are they? They're home until November in dealing with something that really takes care of you can hear the nuts and bolts of our democracy popping loose at its foundation, and they're home until November without dealing with it.